Hey, how's it going? It's Man Tomorrow here. Hold on a second while I get this thing up here. As you can see, my notifications really ain't going out all that much. But I'm trying to figure out why my laptop isn't connecting. I don't know why it's still reading the GoPro camera, even though the GoPro camera is not even connected to the screen here. But you have to realize, man, uh, these people who make this 1994 crime bill argument are people who you should show no respect to, none whatsoever. Because these people want to have sympathy for people we shouldn't have sympathy for. And they're not even trying to show sympathy to the people who were addicts, who got caught up into this crime bill thing. They want to show sympathy and empathy to the people who sold this poison to people within the actual community. And it just shows you about the unprincipled nature of some or a lot of these people around here. And you know, these are people who are educated to know damn well better what they're talking about and what they're doing. These people don't need a PR firm. They just don't need a PR firm. They just don't. So when this individual, so you have to recognize what's going on. Like the people who make the 94 crime bill argument are most likely the same people who don't believe the vote count. They're they're naturally the same type of people. This isn't hard. It really isn't that hard. And we shouldn't be trying to show sympathy and empathy for these type of people. There's no rationale of these people existing. I don't understand. This is something agree to disagree. Some things are just flat out wrong. But when you personalize the question to the actual person, somehow they get it in that instance. They get it in that instance. But when you generalize the question, they want to be all over them. You have to realize and understand that most of these people want to play savior to people who they can't possibly protect, that they can't possibly help. But for some reason, we have to protect one group of people over the other. Turn on Buck TV. I say that's an excellent idea. Now let's start protecting other people over them. You just start using their tactics against it. Because they're only doing this because it's a free fire zone. It's a free fire zone where they get to claim that they care about people, but they risk nothing. I'm just saying this stuff is just flat out unacceptable. And we shouldn't be sitting here trying to protect some of these people. A lot of those people who got caught up in those things deserve exactly what they should have got. But for some reason, we're sitting here doing something else. I don't understand. Without further ado, let's play the video. We're going to play the video in full context. So that way, it won't seem that I'm lying. And so that way we can have this conversation going forward.
Biden, I also wrote that into law, drug courts. Anyone arrested for a drug problem because they are addicted should be diverted into a drug court, not into a prison system, right? 1994 law provided $1 billion for drug courts over 6 years. Biden, it included my Violence Against Women Act, VAWA, which I wrote. It included strengthening the Brady Bill on background checks, eliminated assault weapons.
So before we go on, so far in the conversation, this is his comment. His comment was about how Biden's crime bill did so much damage to the black community. It didn't do damage to the black community. It did damage to abject niggas. That's who it did damage to. It did damage to opportunists within the black context. That's what it did damage to. It didn't do damage to every single person. It did damage to people who sold that type of poison to people within their own community for their own benefit, by the way. So when people talk about the crime bill, they're not even talking about the addicts. They're talking about the people who merely sold the stuff. So that way I can give you the full context of how you are to treat these people. From now on, whenever these crime bill idiots come up, this is how you treat them. You lay down the factual information, which is might be what's doing right now. Because this isn't hard.
Biden, I also wrote that into law, drug courts. Anyone arrested for a drug problem because they are addicted should be diverted into a drug court, not into a prison system, right? 1994 law provided $1 billion for drug courts over 6 years. Biden, it included my Violence Against Women Act, VAWA, which I wrote. It included strengthening the Brady Bill on background checks, eliminated assault weapons. mandatory minimums and 3 strikes. Biden, Republicans, didn't like the fact that we removed mandatory minimums for first-time offenders. So all these black people come here and want to go to the right and support the right and say, well, Trump's doing the First Step Act. That's because these same people over here didn't like the fact that it removed the mandatory minimums. They wanted more. If you left it into their hands, they would have put brothers under the jails. But you think that supporting them and not and bringing up the crime bill is somehow indicative of a legitimate argument. Here we go again. Biden. The bill also included things like I didn't like. I didn't support the provision the president wanted and called 3 strikes and you're out. Didn't support it then, don't support it now. These are the facts. This is straight from Biden. Biden, I didn't support any mandatory minimums. We got that. More money for prisons. I didn't support more money to build state prisons. I was against it. We should be building rehab centers, not prisons. Okay? This is the facts. This is the fact check. So every time these guys come over here and they bring up the crime bill, I say, that sounded, it made you sound, legitimate 2 or 3 weeks ago, but that doesn't hold weight here anymore. Let me stop staring.
Let me say this. Whoever that was, you just got categorically torn out the frame by Mike. Thank you. All right, anyway, let's move on.
No, I'm trying to get the context of what he was talking about that doesn't mean anything. I don't function. So what's your point, MOT? I'm college educated, but it affected Generation X black man, my generation. Well, I'm Generation X too. So I have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe you was one of those older Generation X people who freely let these people walk into these consequences without trying to Oh, he wants to come up? Oh, wow. Hold on a second.
Let him in.
Now, this is the same guy who was on Mr. Fantastic's panel yesterday, claimed that I kicked him off the panel for no reason. I kicked him off the panel for a very specific reason. Very specific. And you're going to see it right here. This is how you treat these crime bill motherfuckers. I can't stand the sight of these motherfuckers because I know what's beneath this care for the destroyers of the community. I'm not talking about the people who changed and turned their life around. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who trying to play like there was those people back in the past. That's exclusively what I'm talking about here. Nothing else.
But please don't come up here emotional. Don't come up here emotional. Don't get emotional. Speak facts. Let's not get emotional.
And if you come up here with this Conor McGregor shit, when you come up here and we all agree, I'm gonna kick your ass out of here anyway. You shouldn't be that stupid to bring this type of shit up. However, you gotta come up here. There you go. Come up. This is brought up a whole bunch of stuff just out of context, but that's what happens when you pretend like you love Pookie so fucking much that the crime bill. Oh my God, my women can't eat off the Pookie. Yeah,
The thing is,
clown after a clown.
right? But they're doing the same thing that they accuse Black Lives Matters of doing, right? Black Lives Matter that they accuse them of is leveraging the death of black men for their own advantage.
Yeah, but they act like they're not doing that. That's exactly what they're doing.
Right. I don't know who X is. You might want to change your name. You could be Brother X, Professor X. I don't know.
Dr. X.
Yeah, man, change the name to whoever you supposed to be, man, so that way we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't need to be coming up here with all this bullshit if you can just be who you actually are. So.
Yeah.
Is he up yet?
No, we're going to change his name. He can change his name in the waiting area, can't he?
Yeah.
If he's X, let him come with his X, man. Okay, yeah, goes right.
No, because what happens here is, you know, when you go back and do the replay, you're like, well, this guy said this. Well, that really wasn't me up there. That was some guy named X. Okay.
Yeah. No, man, so change your name so whoever you say you were in the chat, and we'll let you up.
Yeah, it could be Brother Ben X. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that. Brother Ben X. Yeah, man.
Oh.
Yes, Sadat X.
He left.
Oh, he left? Oh, he co-swag at all?
I mean, but you know, the link is still in the chat. You still gotta change your name, man. It doesn't matter how many times you come in here as X. We don't bring on X's, man.
It could be my ex.
It could be my ex.
Could be Excalibur.
Yeah. We're really not thirsty to bring people on, man. It's just that if you wanted to come on, we gotta know who you are before you come on. That's it.
Well, we could change his name for him. He says that's him. So, yeah, could be DMX.
Could be DMX.
What's his name? John Henrick. What? Sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. So I just put. I mean, don't say nothing once you come in. I'll just change your name to John Ture. All right. Oh, sorry.
Maybe he's riding a BMX.
Oh boy.
So when this guy went on Mr. Fantastic Show last night and claimed that I just kicked him off for no reason, the dude was lying, man. But that's why we're playing the full context. So that way you can see not only what the statements are beneath people who talk about the 94 crime bill, but the question that you ask them. You personalize the question.
Yeah,
okay, no BMX. What's good? What's good?
Hey man,
Hold on a second. Hey man, you gotta turn off the YouTube in the background, bro.
All right, I'm gonna have to shut off.
Turn your YouTube off in the back.
I got you. Just a second.
Hey, unmute once you have that stuff under control, man.
All right. So.
Okay, you're good.
All right.
So I didn't see what was said before. So what do you mean by that was out of context to me? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I didn't get the context of what you were saying.
I mean, you guys are basically attempting to say that the crime bill was a direct result of the crime that occurred in the mid to late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, let's stop there. Let's stop right there. This guy's point is that they just came up with a crime bill for no reason. There was no crime happening in these communities. Crime wasn't out of control. The murder rate wasn't through the roof. They just came up with a crime bill for no reason. That's his point so far. This is what I mean when people just start coming to the table with their own types of factual information. It's ridiculous. Mike just read to you the context of everything that was said. You would think these people having all these hours out here talking that they just would have picked up something and actually read what was happening. We're gonna go for it.
Absolutely. Like, okay. Hold on. So you're saying that you don't think? Hold on a second. Renaissance man, change your name before you say anything. So what you're saying is that the crime bill just came out of nowhere because crime was not high.
I'm not saying that. I know. Look, I'm 46. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
My parents.
So you have to declare what you're talking about because you're trying to make it seem like the crime bill just came out of nowhere because crime was not high. So what is actually your position or point?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it was unwarranted, and I'm saying it was directly targeted to young black men. Like,
you see this double speak bullshit? He said that's not what he's saying, and then he go for it and make the same point that he is actually saying.
Myself, in that age range, the Gen X black men, because
Did you go to jail?
Because
Did you go to jail?
No, hell no. I told you I went to college.
Okay.
Both of my parents were college educated.
What did you have to do? What did you have to do to go to jail?
Not much. Cops back then, police were planning shit. I'm not saying that everybody that went to jail. I'm saying most of them probably were good for it, but I'm just saying, all you had to be is young, black, and in the inner city.
Boom. Before he just said all the shit that he said, he just said most people who went to jail was good for it. And then he's covering it up with all this gobbledygook bullshit.
And you were targeted as a criminal, including me.
I do get that.
Okay.
And what I'm telling you is
then again.
What I'm telling you is Joe Biden,
crime,
with that deal,
Joe Biden, it is not.
He targeted us. He targeted us as a generation of young black men. That was the.
Now he is kind of right and kind of wrong here. In order for those people, those police departments to get all that funding, they had to pump up the actual drug arrest. This is why they were arresting addicts who was on drugs. Now the addict, as long as you locked up the addict freely would have told you who sold him the stuff. This is how they got some of the big dudes out of there. Because if it wasn't the addicts, it was definitely their girlfriends who actually ratted out whole crews and stuff like that. So that is what actually happened. Yes, they were pulling over a lot of people. Why? Because the problem was there. People still wanted to survive off the image. There's a lot of people from middle-class America who came down to them neighborhoods to just sell drugs for the damn sport when they didn't need to do that. They came from good families. So I don't get why we got to have all this sympathy and empathy for those type of people. I think it's ridiculous. But we're going to go for it because, see, he keeps saying two things at the same time, trying to confuse the issue. This is why I have to stop him and be like, whoa. I'm hearing you saying two different things at the same time. But we're going to go for it.
During the time where they were privatizing a lot of the jails and prisons also.
Yeah.
They were, look, I went to university.
Privatizing the prisons has nothing to do with you unless your ass is going to jail. I don't give a fuck how privatized the prisons are. I'm not going to prison. I'm not picking up that stuff so that way I can go to jail. Why are we worried about privatized prisons if your ass ain't going to them? Again, all this stuff is solved by not picking up the substance and selling it. But they made it look like, oh man, we didn't have a choice, man. We had to sell it. No, you didn't. You didn't get a mandatory minimum sentence if you didn't do the mandatory minimum sentence stuff. You knew the people in your community who was going to jail. You knew this. And if you did know this, why would you still pick up this substance and sell it anyway?
Missouri and Columbia, what y'all call Mizzou. Everybody calls Mizzou. White boys in them big frat houses was
all the stuff he's saying is true. However, you still don't have to go to jail for this stuff. We don't need to be lobbying for sentencing reform. None of that. We need to be lobbying for not picking this stuff up in the first place. They're like, look, oh yeah, well, white boys went to jail and they didn't even get that much time. Yes, because it's a system that protects them. So why would you deliberately go out and sell something in a community that you know that you're going to get a lot of time for? This makes no sense.
For some of the biggest cocaine dealers in Columbia, Missouri. And when they would get caught, they would get a slap on the wrist for moving tons of coke through that campus. But when I would come home in the summertime, my brothers would be gone for 5 to 10 years because they had that 1 gram of crack was equivalent to 100 grams of powder cocaine.
Why are we worried about people who have possession? Why are we worried about people who are distributors? Why are we not worried about 2-parent households who did it right? He came from a 2-parent household, he said. But rather than going forward and teaming up with the people who is in his class and group, he decides to want to team up and speak for this garbage pile. It makes absolutely no sense.
Now, you can't tell me that they didn't try to take out a whole group of us. And I don't care what them old ass baby boomer, coon, and greatest generation.
Hold on. I'm a boomer.
Okay. Yeah. And what I'm gonna say is this: y'all dropped the ball.
Now that's very key. What he just said about the boomers is very key because he's gonna circle around back to it. You see, these people don't like personalized questions. They come in with all these generalities. But the moment you personalize it, they understand things.
Y'all got
bullshit.
Because y'all
how did they drop the ball? How did they drop the ball?
Y'all were happy because y'all got the good jobs. You thought you had made it. You sold out the hood. I witnessed.
Which I was going to quickly ask, John.
So people sold out the hood because they got good jobs. What is this?
The 100-to-1 crack cocaine sentencing, that didn't come from the 94 crime bill. That was a different bill.
And
you see, all this smoke when he could have just looked up what he was talking about. But then again, they walk into the conversation and they have no idea what they're talking about. They just sling the conventional ignorance that is normally said within a black space of YouTube. They haven't even stopped to look up the stuff that they're even talking about. They haven't even stopped to pause to even do that.
And I wanted to say also, see, if you look at your period of time in history, when they first really dropped the boom on the black community, it was the boomers who were getting hit with that shit. The boomers were
again, since he don't know any of this information, he just categorically deny it. This is the difference between people who know the history of what they're talking about and people who just come in and sling conventional ignorance. Because they don't know what they're talking about. But they have fully formed ideas about things that are happening that they're so passionate about.
I'm aware.
On the front line. Hold on a second, man. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
The boomers were the guys on the front lines getting cold hammered in this. Okay?
They were
from 45 to 60, from 1945 to 64. Okay? That was a boomer generation. 45, 64. Okay?
I know what the boomer generation is.
Okay. That's when that.
They weren't facing the.
You see how much time you waste bringing these people to the actual conversation? They don't even know the history of what they're talking about. They haven't even stopped to read about the history of what they're talking about. And then they want to be part of conversations talking about stuff. Thanks for the $2 super sticker, Justin Morgan.
That question was the boomers were gamers, the boomers, especially in the black community. The boomers, many of us were part of the Panthers and all that kind of shit. We were the most revolutionary group that was rolling. Many of us were there. Many of us got torn out the frame by that.
Hey, bro, y'all basically were commandeered by like those Marxist socialist groups.
Hey, wait, hold.
Okay, and this is how you treat people when they bring up Marxists and socialists. Because when I told him how I framed that he's going to talk about Marxism and socialism from now on, this is how you deal with people like that. This is how you talk about that. Because Marxism and socialism, I don't think they know what the shit is. They just throw the shit in the conversation. But this is how you handle that. Because I was waiting on him to say that.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
They all were commandeered by these communist groups.
But John, you realize they also
Everybody stop for a second. If you say the word communist on this fucking live stream, I will kick your ass off this panel. We ain't no fucking culture warriors.
Oh God. No, I was gonna quickly add.
Renaissance. Let me finish.
And is socialist better? Can I say that?
Socialist?
Now go. Everybody be quiet for a second.
You said the Black Power?
Everybody be quiet for a second. If you're gonna cite socialism or communism, you have to cite what country that it comes from and how does it apply here to the United States. That's how we're going to do the socialist and communist thing, if you're going to cite that. I don't think it's true. I think it's unwarranted. But if you're going to cite that, cite what country it comes from and how it applies here. And if it's not right, then you got to lead the conversation. All right?
He's not going to be able to match that up. He's not going to even comprehend what the fuck you're talking about.
No, and that's why he's going to have to go.
Wait a minute. You said I'm not going to comprehend. Wait a minute. Didn't Paul Robeson, didn't he stand trial by the U.S. government?
Who's that?
Paul Robeson.
Yeah, he did. He's out for man.
For what?
Yeah. Well. Hold on 1 second.
That was in the period of my class.
Wait. We're getting too far afield here.
No, I'm tying it all in.
No, you're not tying a motherfucking thing together. We're talking about this crime bill right now.
Okay, all right.
And after you lose on that topic, we're going to go to something else.
Okay, that's fine.
So, the crime bill. You were wrong.
I wasn't wrong.
Wrong.
How was I wrong?
The crime bill wasn't like what you're talking about on the power cocaine shit. Like, listen, I don't give a fuck about people who's selling drugs. I don't give a fuck about those people who got locked up. I don't give a fuck about people. Listen, I'm not even done yet. I don't give a fuck about people who sold poison to our own fucking people because they did not do what the fuck they were supposed to do, like you, and went to college. I'm not trying to help those people at all. So when you come out here and talk about the fucking crime bill, not everybody was a fucking criminal. Not everybody had the possession of fucking drugs on them. Not everybody wanted to sell that shit to people in the fucking community. I don't give a fuck about those people. Now the addicts that got locked up, okay, you got me there. But the people who want to brag like they were the dude back in the day doing this shit, I don't give a fuck about none of those people. I'm talking about educated people.
Most of the people who got locked up in the crime bill were addicts. They weren't.
I don't agree. No.
See, here we go. Most of the people who were locked up for the actual drugs back then were addicts. And this guy's just going to come in and say that's not the case.
You don't agree?
I don't
agree?
Most of them were addicts.
Stop.
Hold
on a second.
I know plenty of hustlers that got locked up and they weren't no addicts.
I don't give a fuck.
Here we go. He's talking about hustlers. He's crying over the hustlers who got locked up for this. The hustlers, the poor hustlers. Those people sold their stuff because they were pieces of garbage, man. That's why they sold the stuff. But this is who he's speaking for. Even though he's a guy that came from a two-parent household that had nothing to do with those people, he decided to loop back around and talk about and try to be a shoulder to cry on for these people who have messed their lives up, trying to make it off of everybody else within the actual situation.
Now go.
Okay, go ahead.
Dude, I don't give a fuck about hustlers.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck about them. They're not even human to me.
Okay.
You pick this poison up and you sell it to your own fucking people? This is what you want to defend?
Hey, MOT.
I'm glad. Hey, man, I'm
MOT.
glad them motherfuckers got locked up. I'm
Can
glad them hustling niggas got locked up. I'm glad they did. I'm glad they got locked up.
Can I interject?
Hey, man, we don't defend pookies and pieces of shit over
MOT,
here.
can I
This
interject?
ain't the fucking panel for this.
Let me say this. I was blessed to have two, as I said, college-educated professional parents. I was in the middle of the desegregation program that was big here in St. Louis. So,
Were your parents boomers?
yeah.
So you went to the boomers, huh?
Okay, so check this
You
out.
I'm talking about these whack motherfuckers coming here talking.
But boomers got caught up in that too, because think about how many guys
Boomers
came
on
back.
the front lines.
No, but think about how many people came back from Vietnam that were boomers that were addicted to drugs too. So I mean, it would have messed them up too.
My dad was.
Boomers on the front lines.
But the Air Force helped my pops get off of heroin and actually sent him to Duke for medical school, but he didn't finish. So a lot of the soldiers and the airmen over there in Vietnam got hooked on heroin, and the U.S. government was complicit in it.
Well, you know, we could talk about that because a lot of people got hooked on drugs. My uncle Carl was over there.
Okay,
But they got swept up in that. But they got swept up in that same crime bill as well that you're trying to blame them for.
A lot of guys got
it was not as bad. But let me
Again, he does admit that those people got on drugs when they went over in Vietnam. He is 100% correct. But his previous point was he don't believe that addicts went to jail. So which one is it? It can't be both. The bill locked up two different people. Mostly addicts, but definitely the people who were selling at some period of time. Yes, they was pulling over people for no reason, just like they're doing the whites right now. When you see these people with Colorado plates getting pulled over in states where marijuana is not legal, they don't understand why they're getting pulled over. They feel like their freedom is being abridged, but they freely watched it happen to us for years and years and never said anything.
Let me just address what MOT was saying. MOT, look, I don't like thugs. I don't like these street niggas either. But I do understand.
This dude's all over the place. He don't like them, but somehow he's defending them. Now he's going to defend them coming forward, right? He just said that he don't like those people, right? But we're going to watch this guy go forward and defend these people.
And everybody got a story. I knew plenty of people that came from the city. I live in the suburbs. I knew plenty of people that got bused from the city that were very, they had all this talent in the world, but they homes, because you got to remember, those boomers, their parents, they was on crack. They got addicted. That was the generation that thought that was the party drug. So the kids were fucked up. They didn't have no other choice. So you can't be oblivious to that, man. I was lucky. Not everybody was lucky like me or you.
Listen, man, you are missing the fucking point. Again, I don't give a fuck what your parents were. If you picked up that fucking fucking shit and sold it in the fucking community, I don't give a fuck about you.
How are they going to eat?
Care.
How are
I
they
don't give a fuck about the meeting. If it takes for them selling out the entire other community to
That's
put the
wrong.
owners wrong,
That's
so it's
wrong.
okay. Okay, you got kids?
Yes.
How would you like it if I sold poison to your fucking child so I needed to eat? Is that okay?
Hey, MOT. No,
Is that okay? Yes or fucking no? Is that-
Now you're gonna see the moment of truth right here. So when this guy lied on Mr. Fantastic Stream yesterday, this is why he got kicked off the panel.
that okay?
no, it's not.
Get the fuck off my panel.
Why? Why?
Because your ass need to go.
I thought we was having a discussion.
We're not having no more discussions with niggas like you.
Hey, MOT, they wasn't selling the truth.
Man, we getting this fucking conversation back on track. And any pookie fucking defending nigga, I'm gonna do your motherfucking ass the same fucking way. Take your motherfucking ass over there to the pro-blacks with that fucking bullshit. This motherfucker said that he had love for these hoodlum motherfuckers, but when it came to his fucking child, he wanted his child to have protection. You cannot deal with niggas like this. Fuck them. I don't care about them. If your parents didn't do that shit for you, I don't want everybody else being a victim in the fucking environment because you didn't have an upbringing that was right. That's not good for everybody to take a downfall because somebody else had a bad upbringing. That doesn't mean that somebody else gets to be a victim. This is the type of shit I'm talking about. Coming from grown motherfuckers' mouths who are college fucking educated. Saying that, what about the people who didn't do it right? Well, they gotta eat. Fuck them. If they gotta eat by destroying everything around them, how is this shit ever gonna get solved? How is this shit ever gonna get fucking solved? He wanted both fucking ways, and that's some shit that we can't have.
Yeah,
Unprincipled motherfuckers just like that. It's fine for everybody else to be a victim, but just not his child. Not his child. I got love for all my pookie friends, but guess what? Not in my backyard. I'm like, dude, it's either this shit is okay or it's not okay.
yeah, there's
And
no
that's exactly
no
what the fuck you do. You have them go over there and help they fucking people. Don't come here trying to make me feel sorry for people who sold that shit to fucking people who look like us. These are the people who would be sitting there and say nothing if there was a crime in the fucking community, as long as it didn't happen to his fucking child. Well, that guy got to eat.
And here's the thing, they didn't even do it like the Italians and take money and then go legit. It
Hell
was
no.
take money and do bullshit.
Man, listen, let's get back to this fucking
They did it to get more pussy. So that's why they did it in the first fucking place. They didn't fucking build shit with that shit that they
and they fucked a lot of stuff at the same time.
Of course they did. They didn't really care about nothing. The only thing they cared about was satisfying themselves. And you got all these pretentious wannabe pookie affiliated motherfuckers here who want to come in with all this fucking understanding shit with people who are nothing but domestic fucking terrorists, destroyed the fucking environment to which they were raised in. But you have to keep a closed mouth to it. But hey, you gotta eat. No, I'm not having this shit.
And if this was Africa, especially in Kenya, Nigeria, and these places, they just kill you. They don't
Yeah, Sharia law kick in.
Well, not even just Sharia law in the Christian areas, man. They just kill you. Iran is the same way. Iran, they kill you. If you get caught with drugs, selling drugs, they kill you. In the
Duterte is doing that in the Philippines. Killing them. Killing them.
Duterte,
Bragging about it.
yeah, Duterte, they want to bring human rights violations against him. The United States. Imagine that.
Even Trump wanted to propose a death penalty for drug dealers. He talked about that.
Yeah. Mitch McConnell said that the bill was too soft. The bill was too soft. This is Mitch McConnell. Just got reelected a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to tell him on the whole powder cocaine thing. That didn't even come from the '94 crime bill. That came
I know, but
from
it's a talk of what
drug
has been
use
used
act
so many times.
of '86.
They don't even know how to fucking.
And then
Yeah. They don't even know how to research the shit that they're talking about. They just go with the conventional ignorance of the shit just thrown around and kind of like the black space to make it look like they care about these people. So what they want to do is they want to hold down the entire ticket of black people by making us circle back and help the people who tried to destroy the community in the first place as the people who need to be first in line to be helped. I don't know what kind of victim mentality bullshit that is, but that ain't nothing that need to go on, man. So when you have people around here talking about the crime bill and all that stuff, dude, the crime bill locked up addicts and people who sold the shit. Thanks for the $9.99 super chat, Johnny Blaze. They are. And they right here in this space. That's why they want to infinitely be able to grift off the environment. This is why I say not a lot of these people you can save. And not a lot of these people you need to be saving. Because my grandfather have already said, it's not about the people who you save. It's the people who they try to save once they are saved. If they're not trying to save equals or trying to help people be equals, those are not numbers that you bring around. Because the only thing these people want to do is re-perpetuate the same problems that allowed them to be and have power in the first place. No, you just can't have that, man. And the problem is you got too many people within this space, men and women alike, who want to show empathy and sympathy towards these people. Before these PhDs got here trying to still help these people thought you were a piece of garbage too. They thought that you should pick up a single mother and raise those kids too. There was people openly talking about the 2/3 policy in this space, trying to get you to turn around and help out all of these people who were affected by actions of the people who did not cause them. That's what happened in this space. They are always going to try to find weak people among you. I got cousins like this. I got cousins like this who messed their lives up out of town. They washed back up in Mississippi, going around the most decent of people within the family, trying to get sympathy and help, knowing full well that they don't deserve it. These are not our people. They're here to slow us down. They don't want to see progress. They don't want to see you have a better chance in life. And here's the thing. It's not even the guys who committed the crimes in the past. It's not even those guys. It's the PR firm of the guys who want to clout chase and hustle off the people who actually did the stuff back in the day. This is why if you associate or assign yourself with the so-called streets, if you assign yourself to making excuses for what those people picked up and tried to sell to our people, you don't deserve any respect. You deserve exactly what they get. Nothing. You don't help these numbers grow. It's great that these guys can't produce. It's great that their women cannot have any more kids. It's great. It's finally over. The war's over, and we didn't have to take a shot at anybody to do so. We just waited them out. Now it's our job collectively to keep moving without trying to help these type of people. This is why I don't want none of these people gone from the manosphere. I want there to be 100 groups of people just like this. I want there to be as many nets as humanly possible to catch these people up in. So that way you can be able to see the people who are ready to move forward and the people who ain't. What's going on, Nagon?
What's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. No, he tore him out the frame, and he came in there talking kind of crazy, sideways, not really having his facts together. Still angry, the generational game, not understanding history and these kind of things, and yet at the same time being an enabler for some of the worst elements of our community. And this whole drug culture, this dealer, gangster, sucker laid running through the community, these shines, we were supposed to somehow embrace that. And that was done. That was done by media, sociologically, psychologically on you, to buy into this bullshit, to buy into it, and many of us have. That were enabled. When we talked about the crime bill, most of the people that got nailed under that crime bill was war on people. It was mostly people using drugs, and most of the drugs that these guys were using, it was not only crack cocaine, but a lot of it was marijuana use. And we've covered this heavily on the Black Brain Trust, and said in so many ways that that's why you should have first dibs. And I believe in certain communities right now that have that are legalizing marijuana, Black men are they want you to come in and get your licenses first. They're trying to put you online first because of your inordinate amount of brothers who were arrested on marijuana charges for small amounts and hit hard in many parts of the country. That's what they primarily used you as. Many others were addicts, and they banged you out for being addicts. A smaller percentage were your big drug dealers, and we can listen to people like Freeway Ricky Ross, who sat down and broke down a whole book and really went into detail. I'm forgetting the author's, the investigative reporter's name right now, who ultimately died. They said he committed suicide or whatever, but he went out there and did this whole expose on what went on, and broke out Freeway Ricky Ross's story. If any one of you remember his name right now, please put it in the chat. But yet, exposed exactly what was going on and how this whole game was being played. But that's another story. But yet showed you the war on drugs and how you got torn out the frame by this crime bill, to a large extent went after people who were rather innocuous and did not have, and were not these super career criminals and so forth, but addicts, casual users, very, very few who were out there, pushing this poison. Freeway Ricky Ross walks around, and I use him just as one example because there are many others who do, but he is a very famous example. So he speaks openly about the damage he did and all of that, and even called on Rick Ross, this rapper, who has fallen into the game, a part of the system, who was pushing this whole drug drug culture, and people are, enamored with him. Here, this guy was a correction officer. That was his job. But now he's out here. I'm your neighborhood drug dealer. I'm your neighborhood drug dealer. You hear his fucking sick ass raps walking around here talking about how he was, how he's in the community, tearing the motherfucker out the frame. Okay, and these other guys have come in and supported this. MOT asked him a very serious question: do you have children? Yes. Would you want them to be victims of this individual out there who is on his hustle? Would you want your children to be caught up into his hustle? Well, no, I don't want to be, but no, I don't want to. Get the fuck up.
Nicole, at that point, it's the end of the conversation. It's like
we
have these community social. Yeah,
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. These are people who are doing harm to you. I've never valued drug dealers as somebody I wanted to be around. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't my stilo. Didn't want anything to do with it, and knew the kind of damage it was doing. From the time I was a kid, I saw guys on 145th Street nodding out on the corner back in 72, 73. Okay, when I was a teeny bopper, young teeny dipping around, coming out my father's office, and you seeing all these guys my father who was writing insurance policies for when he had his general insurance business and the whole game, and he was one of the biggest insurance men in Harlem. Okay, my father, and was making crazy money, basically insuring a lot of these youngsters. We saw them coming through, and they would come to my father. Yeah, Mr. B, we hear you connected. You know how to do X, Y, and Z. They couldn't get good insurance policies, life insurance policies from any of the big white ones, because they were like, you're on drugs, man. Fuck up. You in this business? Fuck you, man. We'll cancel your policy right out. You too high of a risk. You got the lifespan of a housefly out here. You know what I'm saying? But my father would be able to ride them, and he would do business with them and all this kind of stuff. Well, my father was doing business. All right. He wasn't caught up in the drug game. He was just helping these guys out, get insurance policies for their children, because, these guys are selling drugs and tearing out the community, but they certainly wanted to have their kids well set, who were going to Ivy League schools and this kind of thing. So this was a sickness that we saw, and I looked at this shit and said, this shit's fucked up. I saw this shit. I saw it. When most of you didn't. I lived through it. I saw it. So these guys were fucked up. This was something that we shouldn't even accept. You guys think you know what's going on when you're 40? Fuck that. It's 20 years out. I was out here 20 years before you, and I saw this motherfucking going down. I watched it. Saw guys nodding out on the corners. We hit Walking Dead. Now you see these white people walking out here all nodded out now, in white America, not out the same way. And I look at it, and even though I know many of these whites were evil and they push a lot of evil on us, I don't want to see anybody like that. I have to admit, it's much animosity that I have towards many of them. I don't even want to see them nodding out like that. That's how fucking horrible this shit is. And then they try to blame it on us. Said we were responsible for it and everything else like that. And lock you up. Many addicts were walking around with a bag on them, everything else, and they just started locking these guys up. Indirectly, it actually kept us off of the drugs, the heroin. Later on down the line, that's hit these white guys that really started hitting in the late 70s and 80s. That no one really talked about when, and that's the issue that they're in now. But this is what goes on. But yet these drug dealers were pushing this thing, and you were supposed to be enamored by poison dealers. Man, get the fuck out of here. When MOT heard this guy talk that shit and back it up, talking all this other bullshit, he contradicted himself about 20 times. And then when he heard that you didn't want to sell these drugs to your children, okay, like none of us would, he had to go. He had to go. And if he's over there on anybody else's channel crying and doing whatever, tell him to come back here and run that same shit again. Same shit will happen to him again. Okay? You better come in here with a fucking fully better laid out game. The panels that these guys can go on and talk all this crazy shit, because a lot of guys push this madness. They push this dysfunction. All right? When the aspirational black people of your community don't push this at all, they want this thing to go down. Now, that's part of the problem with the crime bill, because you're aspirational black folks. We're all for tearing these motherfuckers out the frame. But, many of us didn't anticipate just how far these guys were going, because it became much more of a political and economic deal than almost anything else. And they locked up a whole generation of people for nothing. For nothing. And they weren't dealers and hustlers. Most of them were addicts and users, casual users, many, who just got torn out of the frame in the system. I saw in Mississippi and some of these other states where guys would have 2 marijuana joints on them, and they'd go to jail for 15 years.
Yeah.
How do you?
You know, they weighed that shit like cocaine and gave them cocaine time for weed. Exactly what they did.
Drugs. They called it. Well, it was under the drugs. So they didn't even, look at the different schedules of drugs. They just did that to tear you out. So there's a whole different game, going on with that. That was the real problem that we had with it, and many black people signed on with it. Your conservatives, real black conservatives. I'm not talking about these clown shines running around. I ain't talking about them fucking morons. I'm talking about real black conservatives. They said nothing. They're responsible. You had many of your black people on the left who were in the Congressional Black Caucus and so forth, who were very upset about the crime that they saw going on. Why? Because black people, conservatives and progressive, or left, if you want to say, are very conservative about crime. Just like me, I am very conservative on crime. MOT's very conservative about crime. You can look at everybody here on the Brain Trust and so forth, very conservative when it comes to crime. But when we look at it being applied in a very unequal way, we have issues with that. That's what our issues are. Equal protection on the law. We haven't seen that. So that's something that we have to consistently fight against. And fight for.
Thanks for the $5 super chat, Fast Attack. All right, man. So this is what we got to do from here on out, man. We need to have a pro-black male movement that's not worried about the needs of the women, that's not worried about the needs of criminals from the past. We need all of these elements out of a progressive black movement. We need a movement so that way we can actually move somewhere. We don't need a movement where we have to endlessly circle back around to the back and keep trying to help people who don't need help, who's trying to cover things for people who don't need to be covered. Again, these are not even the guys who committed crimes. These guys are worshiping ghosts. This is a
but
ghost.
Are enabling it. Enablers.
Yes,
These are enablers.
Yeah, they're enablers.
Enabling this. No.
They want to be a shoulder to cry on for these type of people?
This ain't no
and
good.
And they want to claim that community minded on top of it? Hell no. Like, no.
Fuck about it.
All right, man. So what we gonna do Saturday, because apparently Gary Webb did an interview on C-SPAN. And there's an hour and 20, what is this? Hold on a second. An hour and 20-minute interview where he talks about the Dark Alliance. Since it's C-SPAN, I know C-SPAN don't clip people and all that kind of stuff for copyright violation, but we're going to play that interview Saturday night. Exactly. So that way we could be able to start shaving these people off of the black male independence movement. No,
because all this information is out here in the media.
Yeah.
It's out here.
It's out here.
Say this. This shit is out here. It's out here, people. This stuff is out here. The people have interviewed. They've seen all of this stuff. We saw everything, man, from the teen from the single motherfucking deal chronicled on Bill Moyers. He chronicled the motherfucker. Okay. And we're sitting here looking at this whole drug game. You've got Gary Webb and these guys out here that have broken this thing down with other people. This shit is, you can look at this shit. You can look at it. That's a problem that I have with why people come up and do no research and they come up talking the dumbest, most ignorant shit going. They do no research at all. They look into nothing. Nothing.
Just like Infantry Skill said, anybody can be a culture warrior, man. Anybody can do that. It requires no research, a microphone, and closed off from any type of critical examination. Don't believe me?
That's exactly.
Rush Limbaugh, Levin, you got Sean Hannity, you got Michael Savage. All these people are the same type of culture warrior. They don't bring anything to the table. They're not trying to move their people forward. They're trying to keep their people stuck. So we're going to make it very hostile for people to not take a side. In any war, there's two people who you go after. You go after the people who don't want to take a side, and you destroy the middle. And you destroy the suppliers if they claim that they're supplying, but they don't want to fight either side. So that's what we need to do here. Because if we're going to be able to move forward as black men in this country and start to participate in the things in this country, there's a hell of a lot of people we got to leave out of this conversation. And number one is the culture warrior. And number two is it's the fan club of Pookie guy. We don't need those people. We don't need that. Right now, you got two options and choices. You can either focus on skills and abilities to survive on your own, or you can focus on game to try to accept the unacceptable circumstances before you. Those are the only two choices that you got. There is not going to be a red pill for anybody. You know what's in front of you right now. If you choose to go over there and mess with that, you're going to get the consequences of messing with that. These jailhouse scholars and these people who come to this space to try to keep people tied closely to the actual victim mind state so that way they can continue to have a place to hang their hat, them days are over. You're going to have to put something on the board. You're not just going to be able to sit here and just keep up this nonsense. You're going to have to put some stuff on. But see, those guys, they don't have the ability to put anybody on. The only thing they have the ability to do is to keep reselling in the victim mind state so that way you won't be able to move forward.
Yeah. I mean, the most important thing for black men here in America now, no question about it, is the most important thing for black men across the board, regardless what social, economic area you say you come from, is to be informed. And I'm not talking about being misinformed with listening to misinformation from miscreants. I'm talking about being informed by sitting back, doing a little reading, doing a little research. Doing a little reading, doing a little research. Look at the facts. Most of that is in history. All right. When you have people that don't know history, history is what is what's going to tell you what's coming forward. It's going to tell you what's going on. Okay. All future is based in its history. Knowing some history, knowing from whence you truly came, and knowing what's going on, and then reading and finding out what's truly going on right now by looking at the legitimate, mediums, Reuters, the Guardian. You can even look into the New York Times. People say, well, it's liberal. New York Times puts it all in there. Whether you want to see that, it's all in there. There are many other mediums, black demographics.com and so forth. Just start looking into things that have answers for you that you can look at and see what's really going on. There's a lot of stuff out here. Forget about, reading your classical, some of your classical historians and classical black philosophers and so forth on history who were out here, Fanon and Du Bois and Du Bois and even some other guys like Van Sertima and so forth. I mean, these are the classic people. John Henrick Clark, of course, a monster in this game, and so. Just so many others, women and men. There's a lot, but people should start getting your minds right. Get your mind right out here. Brothers have to think clearly. We have to think clearly. And even after this election, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say some MLT and I'm done. Even after this election, Joe Biden and all that, and I looked at his cabinet, and bunch of white faces. Okay, you got this half black, half whatever in the in the VP-ship. Okay, she's part of my, the AKA, sister sorority, to my frat. Okay, that's all well and good. But at the end of the day, I'm buying all that. few black faces. We should be over-indexed in there. So, we should be over-indexed. So, black men are not being spoken about so well. So I look at this election. I'm glad that Trump is gone, but am I sitting here thinking that this is a panacea to our to the wide open door for us to have it clean? No, I believe that you have to consistently pressure the game, and black men, as a group, we're gonna have to pressure the system a lot more, and that's gonna mean you're gonna have to be politically organized and thinking straight. These black women out here running around getting organized all over the fucking place. Okay, getting organized all over the place, running voter registration drives and registering people to vote and sitting at the polls and doing everything else like this all day long. They up there in Wisconsin, they down there in Georgia and all that. And sorry, as hard as I have been on these sisters, they're doing a fuck and as fucked up as a lot of them have been, they're doing a great job at this themselves. They're doing a serious fucking job. And we're gonna have to sit down here and say, hold on a second, where are we in this? And then talking to Negroes who haven't registered to vote and these kind of things. I ain't fucking with y'all. I don't fucks with you. So I don't want to hear from you. Get the fuck out of here. Let's talk to real fucking folks out here that are really trying to do that. Now, I myself am involved locally, politically, so I'm doing these things. But I would like to see a much more bigger grassroots group of us, and that's what this is going to take. That's what this is going to take. Biden up in there, all white cabinet. I ain't happy about that. I ain't feeling that at all.
Hey man,
So
it's like this, Nicole. Going forward, if you want to have a conversation, you just drop off into this troll shit, man. Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like we're trying to move forward and do some shit. What type of skills and abilities you bring to the table?
Exactly.
Hey, I don't mind you being conservative. It's just that, look, you got to be asking for some shit while you're over there. So that way we can be able to have a coalition. And if you don't want to do that, then your numbers don't count. But if your numbers don't count and you want to talk about shit that does count, that's what makes you a culture warrior. Because you ain't trying to move the stick.
Exactly. Black conservatives, okay, we're all pretty much, we're mostly more than anything else black conservatives. Now the average, now these miscreant clowns running around talking outside their asses, they don't understand what we're talking about because, of course, they don't understand conservative thought and conservative policy. Okay, they don't thoroughly understand that. They don't understand that structure. I understand this intimately. The MOT understands this intimately. Okay, all right. And these other brothers out here that we have had out here understand this intimately as well. We understand it. I know its history. I know its foundations. I know its principles. I know its policies. I know exactly how it applies to black people and how their version of their level of conservatism doesn't apply to us. I understand this. We've broken this down and have torn these Negroes out the frame, but yet they're still running around here trying to claim certain kind of things. Trying to claim certain kind of things that are just not true and don't even see what's really going on. If you're going to talk about you're a conservative and all that, make sure you understand what you're talking about. Because then once you do, you'll see we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. Okay? We do. All right? We really do. Why? Black men are mostly conservative. My mantra has always been, get your mind right. Get your money right. Get your body right. All right? Now, listen to this. Keep your overhead low and your savings high. All right? That's fiscal conservatism right there. That's what we talk about. So black men, that's pretty much what we do. That's a conservative principle. Very conservative.
Because when I see the weak links right now are among black men is dudes who want to chase and talk about women, dudes who are intent on learning game to deal with these unacceptable circumstances by surrendering, and people who are with this Pookie worship shit.
Yeah.
Nah, man, not part of the black way forward. Not part of it.
Exactly. The Pookie, he just waiting to get hired. He just waiting for a job. Okay, I'll hire him. Okay, You running behind these derelict fucking females out here. They gonna tear you out the frame. You can go run behind them if you want. You going down. Ain't nothing good coming out of it. Okay, so you better understand what you're dealing with before you walk through the door. Better understand it. If you don't, you will pay. All right. And brothers, you have to get your minds right. Like I said, when you when you keep your overhead low and your savings high, okay, which is going to get you ahead of the game every time. It never fails. It cannot fail. And anybody who's practiced this has benefited. Nobody can lose from that. All right. Very conservative mindset. You're not spending your money on a lot of dumb shit. You're being very conservative in what you're dealing with. You know, it was funny. We were out with Jada Kiss and DMX just a couple nights ago. You know, by my brother's restaurant. You know, and then and we were just hanging out. You know, they down in Yonkers. So I know the area very well. My brother's restaurant's down there, so we were hanging out. So these guys are in there. Jada Kiss talked about all this other bullshit. He's got about $6 million in the bank, and he says, "Oh yeah, man. You know, we hanging loose, man. You know, I stay with my mom. I stay with my daughter. You know, we got a little condo here. I don't buy anything else. I'm good for life. I got to take care of everything else. And right now I'm trying to produce other guys, but that's it." He sits down and says he doesn't spend any money. Frugal. Only thing he does is he spends very heavily at my brother's restaurant. DMX hanging out by Ravine Avenue, doing a whole lot of talking, sounding crazy. And I'm like, D, man, why are you talking like that, man? D, come on, bro, slow down, man. Yo, man, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's still mumbling and still acting crazy. And I'm looking at this guy, you know, who's had great success, doesn't have the money that he should have, you know, got up in that street game, but still, you know, the streets love him. I can't lie. The streets down there, and they still love the dude. They still got mad love for him. But he hasn't benefited at the level like some of these other guys who've been very conservative about their game and are not really trying to play that street game really anymore. DMX 54, man, he out there still, man, come on, man, slow down, D. So, I'm seeing this just in real life with these guys who we know. All right. And it's like, oh man, come on. So that life you're talking about, you know, romanticizing that street life doesn't, and that street game doesn't last long, man. Doesn't last long. They ain't taking you nowhere. You can't build much on it. And when I say build, just build a good family off of it. All right. Can't even do that, right? So I'm just saying, just think about what you're embracing. All right. I know guys in the industry. We know these guys. D, Jada, all right. Okay, Mary J, who these motherfuckers can't stand because she don't give it back to the brothers. But Jada got his spot right there, right up on Warburton. He goes over there and he takes care of the community. Looks out for the community, man. Real cats. I'm just gonna drop it. I'm not trying to get into my private life and tell who I know and what's really going on, but I say that because this is significant. This is very significant. Street game and all that. Guys who are really about the real deal ain't fucking with that. And we can't build that. You want to be politically active, economically viable, and really moving forward. That is not a game that's going to take you there. It's not going to do it. It isn't. It's not going to take you there. You're going to run into too much shit, and you're not going to be able to build. All right, and it's not designed for you to do that. So we have to take other roads, and it's just where we are at. And I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it at that. But that's what we got to be moving towards. Like MOT says, you coming up there, you running around, jumping on panels, talking crazy shit about this shit. There ain't no spot over here with him. I can tell you. I come over to MOTs all the time. I talk to him on a regular basis. And, I'm a guest, if anything, on his program. And, I ain't going to be sitting around there listening to these whack niggas. I ain't going to be sitting around. This ain't no good for any one of us who out here trying to make moves. And if you're sitting here fucking with this sucker laid hoe who's out here not giving a fuck, I can tell you this: she's got other sisters who are covering her, who are doing hella work. Hella work. You better think about that. I'm just breaking it down. Anyway, go ahead, MOT. Go ahead.
Oh, a second. Got a phone call. Go ahead, though.
All right. Yeah. Well, while he's on the phone, I know he'll take that. But I'm just gonna say, just leaving that as a father, as a grandfather, as a man, raised sons, got grandsons. and daughters. I understand. I can say this. I have deciphered this game. I've deciphered America. I've deciphered it. I've deciphered its code. I have deciphered, its system. I know how this thing connects. I know how it works. I know how this game works. No doubt in my mind. I understand it. This thing is not geared directly for us to be that successful. They can't stop it in so many ways. Once you really get your act right, they can't stop you. That's the thing. That's what they're uptight about. That's why you're looking at all these grays running around tight. Okay, Biden won. They think it's another term for Obama. That's what these guys are upset about. The Trumpites and all these guys. At the end of the day, brothers, they don't want to see you win. They don't want to see you win, man. These people out here, they don't want to see you win. They don't want to see it. They don't. And that's just where we're at. And we can't embrace philosophies or I would say cultures or so forth that are not for our betterment. There's no way to go. We should be getting educated, getting trained the best we can. And I'm not saying you have to get a PhD, but we should be licensed. Like I said, I'm big into getting these CDLs and stuff. Big into that. All right. Because there's an awful lot of work there. A lot of work there. A lot of brothers that I see who are starting to make some money too. They're going into the unions with their father's jobs, and they're going in there grabbing a lot of union jobs and stuff. And they're brothers. I see brothers very frugal. They're very smart about how they're going about things. So we have to be looking at that intelligently, politically. What bothers me that I see here a lot in some of the YouTube spaces, or I know a lot of guys are new to politics. That's okay. I love that. But if you're coming new to the political game, get your feet right on a little bit, understand a little bit what you're talking about. Understand what a conservative platform is. Understand what a progressive platforms is really all about. Understand what the left is about, and understand what the right is about. And really look at it and how it's been polarized and played, and look at the hypocrisy that that both sides really have. Where do you stand in the middle of this? No one party is going to do anything for you. Not one party is going to do shit for you, really. Not one is. You have to be able to make things happen for yourself. You have to make we have to make things happen for ourselves. That means you got to pressure these systems. You got to pressure them a lot. I don't believe in one system. I believe in ethnic politics supersedes any party label, and that means you got to be kind of organized, and you have to move kind of as a group. True black conservatives are not my enemy. True black conservatives are not my enemy. All right. Michael Steele is a black conservative. He is not my enemy. Far from it. In fact, he's a very good friend of mine, I would say. I don't know him personally. I mean, by a good friend of mine from his stances and what he stands for inside the Republican Party as a black man and as a conservative. We are very close in our philosophies. Okay, very close. All right. The shine bone running around here, sucking the kneecaps of guys like this orange guy who's not a conservative, who is not a true Republican, but yet he's out here supposed to have your best interest with the neo-Nazis, and these guys run out here looking to take you out first chance they get. I cannot see where you're going to be benefiting from that. I don't see it. And if you really are going to benefit, why are you not organized politically to take full advantage? And that's what we're talking about here. Really talking about political organization and really kind of moving forward in that regard. And I hope guys kind of understand where we're really coming from in that in that space. Not knowing what you're talking about, not having not being read, or not having a philosophy, or not really having a real philosophy, not based on anything. That's going to be uncovered all the time, and that's not good for us. So I'm just going to say that I would like us to be a bit more prepared, and I think more so than anything else, information. Let's get a little bit more information in our heads, and let's start taking it from there. That's what I have to say first. All right. MOT, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. You got anything else before we get up out of here, man?
Nah, man, I said enough.
All right, I want to thank everybody for coming through, man. But this is how you deal with these. I changed the name of the show, so I changed it to "How to Handle Street Sympathy Psychopaths from Here on out." There's no reason to be having sympathy for these type of people. There's no reason to want to speak for these type of people. You can't help these type of people, but you can help yourself with your own skills and abilities and who you decide to actually spend it with.
Thanks.
That's all you can do, man. Because at this point in time, we don't have time to be pausing. It is what you're pausing for, what you're trying to learn from that, and how to move forward from that. That's how you do it. Otherwise, those people are merely having you focus on those things to empower themselves, and we don't need that. So, we got to be able to move forward with skills and abilities, man. The people who are not serious are still talking about women. That's fine. I want there to be more of those guys, by the way. However, you're still going to need to make progress in your own life, and this is going to be my mission going forward. Is explaining the historical context to some of these things. And as Mike brought up earlier, man, we about to close the show out because of the Prince. All right, man. So I want to thank everybody for coming up and super chatting. We still need to go and get these things going. I want to thank Justin March, Johnny Blaze, and Fast Attack for super chatting during the actual stream. You guys have a really nice day, man. And Saturday, we're going to discuss the Gary Webb interview that he did on C-SPAN. I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but it's something that you need to watch because when you look at these actual things, you need to look at them and learn from them, not look at them and stew in them. You know, we don't want people being sitting in ignorance and sitting in non-action. That's crazy, and that's how nobody moves forward. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. You guys have a really nice day. Peace.